Offshore injury lawyers are privileged to assist injured workers and crewmen nationwide. Our offshore accident attorneys at Morrow and Shepherd LLP focus on offshore accidents that occur in the Gulf of Mexico, but we handle serious maritime and offshore injury cases around the country. In fact, we have handled serious personal injury and wrongful death cases arising from accidents all around the world, including the Middle East and Africa. If or a loved one has been seriously injured or tragically killed while working offshore, a consultation with an experienced offshore accident lawyer to discuss your legal rights before they are jeopardized by your employer. There is no fee to speak with us, we only get paid if we win your case. Handling offshore accident and explosion claims throughout the Gulf of Mexico. Millions of dollars recovered for our clients. Help with all types of offshore injuries. A track record of success. No fee unless we win. Request a free case consultation today when the insurance company calls. Do not speak to them. They are after their own interests, and it can hurt your case. Act now to protect your legal rights. Types of offshore facilities. The kinds of facilities where offshore injuries occur include compliant towers, narrow, flexible towers, and a piled foundation supporting a conventional deck for drilling and production operations. Drill ships, self-propelled floating rigs that look like ships, capable of operating in deep water and move around more quickly than semis. Station keeping is usually accomplished by dynamic positioning. Fixed platforms, built on concrete and/or steel legs anchored directly onto the seabed, supporting a deck with space for drilling rigs, production facilities, and crew quarters. Immobile and designed for long-term use. Floating production systems, large ships equipped with processing facilities and moored to a location for a long period. These include FPSOs, floating production, storage, and offloading systems, FSO, floating storage and offloading systems, and FSU, floating storage units. Inland barges. These rigs are specially adapted for inland waters close to shore. Jack-up platforms, platforms that can be jacked up above the sea and can be lowered like jacks. These platforms, used in relatively low depths, are designed to move from place to place and then anchor themselves by deploying the jack-like legs. Jack-up rigs, used for shallow water drilling. These have legs that penetrate into the sea floor and the hull jacks up and down the legs. Platform rigs, self-contained rigs that rest on fixed platforms, used for field development drilling. Sea stars platforms, mini-tension leg platforms. Semi-submersibles, floating mobile offshore drilling units that have ballasted columns. Station keeping is accomplished either by anchored mooring lines or dynamic positioning systems. Semi-submersible platforms, legs are buoyant and permit structure to float. Can be moved from place to place. Spar platforms, moored to the seabed with more conventional mooring lines. Tender assist rigs, monohull units that are moored next to a platform. The rig is installed onto the platform but power, storage and other functions remain on the tender. Tension leg platforms consist of floating rigs tethered to the seabed in a manner that eliminates most vertical movement of the structure. Oilfield services. The top grossing oilfield services companies include Baker Hughes Incorporated, Houston, Texas; Cameron, Houston, Texas; Carbo Ceramics Incorporated, Houston, Texas; Core Laboratories, Houston, Texas; Drillquip Incorporated, Houston, Texas; XP Enterprises Incorporated, Houston, Texas; Exterran Partners LP, Houston, Texas; Florf Technologies Incorporated, Houston, Texas; Geokinetics Incorporated, Houston, Texas; Halliburton, Houston, Texas; Helix Energy Solutions, Houston, Texas; Jacobs Engineering Key Energy Services Incorporated, Houston, Texas; National Oil Well Varco Incorporated, Houston, Texas; Oceaneering International Incorporated, Houston, Texas; Oil States International Incorporated, Houston, Texas; Oil Geospace, Houston, Texas; Robbins and Myers Incorporated, Dayton, O'Hierp Incorporated, Atlanta, Georgia; Superior Energy Services Incorporated, New Orleans, Louisiana; Schlumberger Limited, Houston, Texas; Worley Persons Offshore Accident LAWYER 5-star advocacy to help offshore accident victims recover and get justice. Offshore accidents have surged in recent years, causing more injuries and deaths than ever before. Source: BSEE. Tragically, many of these offshore accidents result from negligence during recreational or work activities.